The stagnation of Eden, a world without shadow. Imagine for a moment a world where the concept of evil never existed. No malice, no greed, no violence, no betrayal. A world of pure, unadulterated equilibrium. It sounds like a utopia, doesn't it? But as we peel back the layers of this reality, we find that the absence of shadow doesn't just eliminate darkness, it erases the very definition of light. To understand the gravity of this, let us step into the year 2026 of this parallel timeline, where the fundamental architecture of human nature has been rewritten. In this world, the first thing you notice is the silence. Not an uncomfortable silence, but a profound lack of friction. Since the capacity for malice does not exist, humans have no need for defense mechanisms. There are no locks on doors, no police, no laws, and no governments in the way we understand them. The landscape is lush and perfectly manicured, reflecting a species that no longer exploits the earth, but lives in a static, symbiotic feedback loop with it. Furthermore, in this shadowless world, the concept of the individual begins to dissolve. If there is no conflict, there is no need to defend one's boundaries or assert one's unique perspective against an opposing force. Human identity, historically forged in the fires of disagreement and the friction of clashing ideals, begins to homogenize. People start to sound the same, think the same, and desire the same things because there is no external pressure to differentiate oneself. We see a society not of individuals, but of cells in a single, unthinking organism, drifting through time without a pulse of personality to mark their passage. The rich tapestry of human diversity, which thrives on the competition of ideas, even the bad ones, is replaced by a beige, singular consensus that demands nothing and produces nothing. Life is a gentle, rhythmic hum. People wake up when they are rested, they eat when they are hungry, and they share everything with an instinctual, almost robotic generosity. Because the concept of taking or hoarding doesn't exist, resources are managed with a natural efficiency that feels less like cooperation and more like a biological imperative. Conflict is non-existent. When two people want the same thing, they simply wait or find a third path that satisfies both without a flicker of resentment. There is no ego, no pride, and therefore no ambition. However, as we observe the culture of this world, a chilling realization sets in. The total absence of evil has led to the total absence of human drive. Humanity has existed in this state for millennia, yet nothing has changed. There is no hunger for discovery, no burning desire to reach the stars, and no restless curiosity to solve the mysteries of the cosmos. Think about the greatest achievements in human history. They were almost always born from a negative stimulus. Medicine, born from the desperate, agonizing desire to defeat the evil of disease and death. Art, often a frantic, beautiful attempt to externalize pain, grief, or the struggle against an unfair world. Technology, frequently accelerated by the fear of being conquered, the desire for power, or the brutal necessity of overcoming scarcity. In our hypothetical world, there is no sickness to fight, no oppression to challenge, and no fear to outrun. Without the friction of evil, there is no need for progress. Why build a faster ship if you have no reason to leave where you are? Why compose a symphony if you have never felt the crushing weight of sorrow? Why write a philosophy book if everyone is already perfectly content? The world is not a dystopia, it is a museum. It is beautiful, static, and utterly stagnant. Humanity has reached a point of perfect survival, but we have surrendered our evolution. We are like pets in a gilded cage, cared for by the universe itself, but stripped of the defining spark that makes us doers. Moreover, consider the profound shift in human relationships. In our world, love is often deepened by the shared experience of surviving hardship, the us against the world mentality that cements bonds. We value others because we see their struggles and offer our support. We feel loved because someone chose to stand by us when things were difficult. In a world without evil, there is no hardship to anchor these connections. Relationships become superficial, transient exchanges of pleasantries that lack the gravity of commitment. Without the possibility of betrayal or abandonment, the act of trusting someone loses all meaning. You cannot be loyal if disloyalty is impossible. Consequently, the deepest, most agonizingly beautiful human bonds, those forged in the dark, never have the chance to form, leaving everyone connected, yet profoundly, cosmically alone. By the midway point of our observation, we encounter the true cost of this paradise, the total loss of meaning. If you cannot do wrong, your choices lose their moral weight. If I give you bread, it is not an act of kindness, it is merely a biological function, as automatic as breathing. If I tell the truth, it is not honesty, because a lie is an impossible concept. In this world, human life lacks the contrast required for depth. We are flat, two-dimensional beings. We are happy, yes, but it is a shallow, tepid happiness that never spikes into joy because it never dips into misery. We are calm, but we are never courageous, because courage can only exist in the presence of fear. We are never compassionate because there is no suffering to elicit empathy. We are simply functioning. The lack of evil creates a lack of agency. We are not making choices. We are following a script of perfection. Every interaction is predictable. Every day is indistinguishable from the last. If you remove the possibility of falling, you also remove the possibility of climbing. We have successfully flattened the human experience into a singular, monotonous plane of existence where everything is good, and therefore everything is utterly meaningless. As we reach the conclusion of our exploration, we realize the terrible irony. By removing evil, we have inadvertently destroyed the human soul. The human spirit is a furnace. It requires the coal of struggle, the oxygen of desire, and the spark of potential failure to burn. Without the bad, the good ceases to be a virtue and becomes merely the default state of existence, no more significant than the color of the sky or the composition of the air. We are left with a species that is immortal in its comfort, yet dead in its purpose. We inhabit a beautiful, sun-drenched landscape where nothing ever grows, nothing ever breaks, and nothing ever changes. There is no drama, no epic, no story to be told. History has ended because history requires tension, and tension requires the shadow of darkness. In the end, we find that a world without evil is not a heaven. It is a graveyard of ambition. We crave a world of kindness, yes, but we are, at our core, beings defined by how we struggle against the dark. Without the dark, we simply cease to be human. We become nothing more than echoes in a windless room, waiting for a clock to tick that no longer has a reason to move. We are ghosts in a paradise we built, only to find that in making it perfect, we made it impossible to live in. We have achieved everything, and in doing so, we have lost the very essence of what it means to be alive. Ultimately, we are forced to confront a haunting truth, that the very darkness we have spent millennia trying to banish is the crucible in which our humanity was forged. If you could truly choose, would you trade the existence of all human suffering and the complexity of our moral landscape for a world that is permanently safe, yet inherently and eternally meaningless? If you enjoy this type of content, don't forget to subscribe and like.